Happy welcome to Bedtime Stories with Manjeet. Uncle Podger Hangs a Picture. Well, yes, that's the title of the story I'm going to narrate to you today. And children, once you grow up a little more, you're going to be reading this story in your school books or your novels or story books. And who says that you cannot listen to stories which your older brother or sister may be reading in their class? So here it goes. I'm sure all of you have one uncle or aunt in the family who's very funny and making everyone laugh here and there, right? So similarly, I had an uncle named Uncle Podger. And there were 8 people in his house. Aunt Podger, their 6 children, and the housemaid Maria. Now one day, a picture, the one which comes framed from the frame makers and we put it up on the walls of our house to make it look pretty. Well, that picture was waiting in the living room of Uncle Podger's house, and Aunt Podger was asking, "What is to be done with this, Podger?" And Uncle would say, "Oh, you leave that to me, Aunt. I shall do that." He had a funny habit of calling Aunt Podger his aunt. And then Uncle Podger would take off his coat and begin. So he would send his first daughter out to get some nails. And then he would remember, "Oh dear, I've forgotten." And then he would send his second child after the first daughter to go and tell her, "Get me nails of this size." To the third child, he would say, "Now, Will, go get me my hammer." To the fourth child, he would say, "Bring me the ruler, Tom." Fifth child would be ordered, "Bring me the step ladder." The next child would be asked, "I need a kitchen chair." "And Maria, don't go anywhere because I want someone to hold me the light." And yes, when the first one comes back, I forgot to order for a picture cord, the thread. So send her back again. "And Tom, where are you? I want you to hand me the picture." So then everybody would crowd around Uncle Podger. He would lift up the picture and he would drop it. The picture would come out of the frame. He would try to save the glass and then he would cut himself. And then he would jump around the room. "Oh wow, I've cut my finger," looking for my handkerchief. And he wouldn't find his handkerchief because it was in the pocket of the coat he had taken off. And he'd forgotten where he had put the coat. So he would tell all his 6 children and Aunt Podger and Maria to look for his coat while he would be just dancing around with his bleeding finger, and he would keep shouting, "Doesn't anyone in this whole house know where my coat is? 6 of you and you can't find a coat that I put down 5 minutes ago." And then very sheepishly, he would find his coat on the chair he would have been sitting on all the time. So then he would just rubbish it all and say, "Never mind, come back children, I found my coat myself." Then everybody would, bind his bleeding finger with his handkerchief. A new glass would be got, and the picture would be kind of fixed with a new glass, and the hammer and the ladder and the chair and the candle. Everybody would bring all of this stuff, and the whole family would stand around in a semicircle ready to help Uncle Podger. 2 people would hold his chair. A third would help him get onto it. And the fourth would help him to stay there and hand him the nails. The fifth would pass him the hammer. He would take hold of the nail and then drop it. there. Now the nail is gone. And all the 6 children would go down on their knees looking for the nail. The nail would be found, but by that time, Uncle would have lost. Yes, you guessed it right. He would have lost the hammer. Where's the hammer? Great heavens! 7 of you looking at me and you can't find my hammer? Well, the hammer would be found, and then he would have lost sight of that mark he would have made on the wall where the nail would have to go in. So everyone would get up on the chair, one by one, trying to find the mark on the wall. And everyone would find it at different places on the wall. And there used to be super commotion all over. So Uncle Podger would measure it all again using a string. And at one point of time, he would lean over the chair at a very funny angle, trying to reach a point 3 inches beyond what was possible for him to reach. And then the string would slip, and then Uncle Podger would slip and slide onto the piano, making a really funny sound. And Aunt Podger would be very disgusted, and she would say, I'm not going to let the children stand around here hearing such funny sound and language. So Uncle Podger would say, sorry, get up on the chair again, fix the spot, put the point of the nail on it with his left hand, and take the hammer in his right hand, and with the first blow he would smash his thumb, pachak, and drop the hammer, and ouch! The hammer would fall on somebody's toes. And Aunt Podger would say that next time Uncle Podger was going to hang a picture, she would pack her bags and go to her mother's place for at least a week. And what would Uncle say? Oh, you women, you make such a fuss over everything. Why? I like doing a little job of this sort. And then he would have another try, another blow, and the nail would go right through the plaster and half the hammer along with it. And then the whole game was started all over again, finding the string, a new hole, and just about, just short of midnight, the picture would go up on the wall, looking very crooked, very shaky, and the wall all around it would look as if it had been smoothed down with a rake. And everybody was dead tired except Uncle Podger. There you are, he would say, stepping off the chair and again onto the toes of someone and surveying the mess he had made with so much of pride. Oh my, look at what a fine job I've done. I think some people would call a carpenter to do a thing like that. And that was the story of Uncle Podger, who was trying to hang a picture. But I'm sure all of you children are going to do a much better job of hanging a picture when you grow up, isn't it? So 3 cheers for you.